Hi everyone, Alan from Newlands Nursery. Today we are taking cuttings from Rosemary. We're going to take it from 3 different types. But before we do that, we're at the beginning of February, mid-February sort of time. It's a good time of year to take rosemary, but specifically this year where it's been a bit more mild, we've got what we like to call soft foliage. So if we have a quick look at that first, there's a couple of points I wanted to make. So you can probably see, it's hard to tell on the video, but certainly from a field point of view, that foliage is nice and what we call soft. So it's fresh foliage, it's grown, it's new. Often you'll find with plants that is the better stage to take the cuttings. Not with everything, but with quite a lot of the plants that we grow here, we look for that soft foliage in order to take the cutting. And if we come further down the stem, you can see you can take what's known as hardwood cuttings from rosemary. But we find the softwood is better. You can see that's almost woody. Nothing wrong with that. Good, healthy plant. But the cutting with that is likely to take a lot longer or potentially won't take at all. And another point to make as well is rosemary, if you're really lucky, rosemary will flower twice a year. But where it will certainly flower is in really early spring. So if you look at this foliage and look at this plant, you can see we're starting to see flowers come, and if you take a closer look, because the buds are the same colour as the foliage, you can often see a lot of buds coming, and you can see over this stem there's loads and loads of buds coming. So what we want to do is avoid any stems that have any flower buds on them, and definitely any flower on them at all. So like I said, we're going to take 3 varieties of rosemary. We've got ginger, we've got foxtail, and we've got officinalis, which a lot of you will know as standard rosemary. So let's start with the ginger. So obviously what we want is soft foliage, and we want to make sure that we're not taking it from a stem that is flowering. This particular one, this ginger rosemary, isn't flowering at all. I'm going to take a reasonable size cutting here, and I can clean it up when we stick it in the compost. So I'm just going to take 2 cuttings from each plant. So again, looking for soft foliage, checking it's not flowering. And that's the ginger. These varieties, again, might be hard to tell from the video, but from experience, these varieties are quite easy to tell the difference from, so I don't need to worry about keeping them separate. I can separate afterwards. Now, this foxtail rosemary is starting to flower, so we're looking for a stem. I'll look at here. That isn't flowering. It's going to be a slightly smaller cutting, this one. So I'll take that off there, and I'll take that into the soft stem like that. So that's those 2 ones, and the officinalis, the standard rosemary we've seen, is definitely starting to flower. So we'll look for a non-flowering stem here again. I'll take 2 from the top here. You can see someone's been before me and taken a cutting already. And that's it. We've got our 6 cuttings. Now we're going to go over and put them in the compost. Okay, now we've got our cuttings, we've taken them. I've got the 3 varieties here, the officinalis, the foxtail, and the ginger rosemary. I'm going to put them into this cell tray. So I'm using a nice, well-drained compost. You can see nice bits of bark in there, that will help with drainage. Rosemary, being a Mediterranean plant, likes a bit of drainage. And we find it roots really, really well in this compost. So I just fill this cell tray. I'm not compacting it down. I'm making sure it's nicely filled. And what I'll do is I'll stamp the tray down. That gets rid of any air gaps, especially when you've got a compost that can be a bit sort of lumpy, I suppose the word is, in as much as it's got bark and stuff in. Sometimes you can get some air gaps. So I want the compost pretty much all the way to the top, just like that, simple as that. So I'm going to place the cutting, start with the ginger. I'm going to make a hole with the scissors. You can use a dibber, make the hole quite big, and then I'm just going to place the cutting in, just like that. So I firm it down, but I'm not really compacting it. And doing the same with the second variety. If you want to keep them separate and you're not sure on your varieties, you'd label it at the end here which is worth doing. And then we do the foxtail in exactly the same way. That is really nice as it gets going and turns into an established plant. A really nice sort of silver tinge to it. And the officinalis, a standard rosemary, the one you might get in the supermarket and use in your cooking in exactly the same way. Just like that. Okay. I'll give it a nice good water. And then I'm going to put it in our propagation greenhouse, which is, so I'm going to keep this basically room temperature, effectively, standard room temperature in the UK, which is anything between 18 and 20 degrees in the UK. If it goes a little bit cooler, it might take a little bit longer, but certainly we don't want frosts or anything. So this is not something you put outside. So keep it on a windowsill would be ideal. Keep the compost a bit nice and moist, so give it a good water, keep it moist, and before you know it, start rooting. Any questions at all, obviously get in contact. We're here to help. See you soon.